guys, welcome back to the Black Jersey. My name's Max and I'm the host of this channel, and a big thank you to my patrons who continue to support me. Today's video is going to be about the Black Ferns. Just 8 days ahead of the World Cup is the date I'm recording this video on, and I have a strong feeling that they are going to win. Everybody is blowing smoke the way of the English, who are quite far ahead of us in the world rankings, and they're all complaining about England not flying business class, how they're going to absolutely walk over everyone. I actually think that England are going to choke. They've got a winning streak of over 20 games. So in this video, I'm going to try and analyse a lot of the Black Ferns plays to show you the attack that they have built their way back up around. Because simply put, they're a different team to the one that turned up to England and France in 2021. Their first try under Wayne Smith was in the 31st minute against Australia in Tauranga. Despite pouring rain and a 10-point deficit, the Black Ferns have become much stronger mentally. This starts with Kendra Coxedge at the base of the ruck, as she goes wide to Chelsea Bremner, who has appeared as a guest on this channel. With Australia not rolling away, the referee blows the whistle. Coxedge has other ideas though. Before her captain even makes a call, she taps and goes, passing to Aisha Leti Iyenga, with Alana Bremner, also a previous guest on the channel, operating as Leti Iyenga's outside as a single player pod. The Australian defence line aren't sure which Black Fern to tackle. Leti Iyenga is able to cross the try line while being tackled high. This is the result of just 3 Australians to Coxedge's left as she taps and goes, while Coxedge has 6 teammates on her outside. This complete inorganisation is what allows for the try, with this try being the first of many examples demonstrating the Black Ferns' opportunism. This same opportunistic outlook is seen again in the 54th minute. Kaipor Olsen-Baker, yet another previous guest on the channel, is set at the back of the scrum inside Australia's 22. Having picked up on low numbers on the blind side prior to the scrum being set, Olsen-Baker charges down the right wing as Coxedge dummies are running line to the open side. With Ruby Tui on the outside, Grace Hamilton is to get off her scrum and point out a counter move to her teammate Emily Chancellor. As we move on a few frames, we can see that Chancellor panics and is forced to tackle high from side on, putting a cool-headed Olsen-Baker in a perfect position to swat her away. Ivania Wong is a winger and the last defender left, so physics just do their thing, and Olsen-Baker lets through her signature smile as she scores on debut. Opportunism is clearly shown again against the USA in the 6th minute. Leilani Parisi is deployed in a tight channel, drawing in 3 defenders. Though the number 8 detaches, the fact that there's 3 defenders drawn into this leaves a massive gap in the defensive line filled by nobody. The USA's open side defense line have gone too far wide, and having been able to see so before binding to the ruck, Joanna Nganwu picks and goes after detaching from the ruck, being able to make a clean break. With the 2 backfield defenders also drawn in, her supreme offload game is sent the way of Arahiana Marino Tohinu, who was able to cross the line. We do have to discuss the offloading a little bit more as well, so I'm going to do a bit of a segment on the offload game, which has been really key to keeping the ball alive under Wayne Smith. We've returned to the second test of the Pacific 4 series against Canada, where Arahiana Marino Tohinu is drawing in 2 defenders despite being a halfback. With excellent communication, she's able to offload to Amy Duplessis, who breaks the line. With Ellery opting to tackle Duplessis, the Black Ferns notice that another defender will be coming in to cover. Knowing that Tui will have plenty of space to step, Duplessis offloads, allowing Tui to step back inside to beat one more defender to cross the try line. We also see a ridiculous offload from Marino Tohinu against the USA in the 59th minute. With a pod of 3 forwards crossing the gain line, the USA are setting their defence line as they know the ruck is a lost cause. However, Paris Redding shows herself to be a bit of a seagull as she fails to defend a tight channel, preferring to go too far from the ruck. Having glanced up at the space before going for the ball, Marino Tohinu picks up and flicks backwards. With Jacoby coming off the ruck to tackle Marino Tohinu, nobody is there to tackle Leti Iyinga as she makes a break and beats 2 defenders to score her hat-trick for a beautiful try. The offload is also a try origin in their first Laurie O'Reilly test against Australia for this season, though Kendra Coxedge dots down in the 31st minute after 9 phases. The initial break is thanks to a handy offload. As we see in the 30th minute, the team is roughly around the halfway line as Coxedge passes off the base of the ruck while 4 forwards are there. Australia look outside Coxedge as the backline is prepped for a hands down the line play, though back's formation is out of frame. Determined to stop the backs going wide, Bridie O'Gorman, an inexperienced prop, attempts to stop the ball at source, and she tackles Coxedge as she disengages from the ruck. As one of O'Gorman's teammates also eyes up the 4 Black Ferns backs, Coxedge flicks the ball back to Leti Iyinga, who breaks the line and beats 2 defenders who are trying to make side-on tackles. As you guys can see over here, I've now got a completely different outfit on for this part of the video, and that is thank you very much to the video sponsor, World Rugby. Arizona Ledge has been doing a wonderful job marketing the Rugby World Cup for 2022. Of course, it's marketed as 2021 because it's postponed from last year. Anyway, I've got very, very nice things that's come in a Champions Supporters Care package from World Rugby. First off, I've got a match schedule and a score chart for all of the games that's going to be happening. Here's all my predictions, as you can see that I've written down on the score chart for the World Cup. Everything all arrived in a very nice swim bag as well. As you can see, the traditional Māori lime has been used as the marketing colour for the tournaments, and the swim bag's absolutely brilliant. I'm going to use it a lot when I go down to the pool, as I have started taking up swimming again due to a bit of back injuries from keeping me out of the gym. Next up, got a bit of this just wee little ball over here to keep the kids entertained. Chuck them around in the backyard with the kids. They're going to be outside a lot now that it's coming up to summer here in New Zealand, so this is absolutely perfect for the kids as part of this Champion Supporter Pack. Next part of the pack is we got some traditional Māori poi. They're a theatre prop normally used in traditional Māori dances, and these wee poi over here are going to be used to unite all the World Cup fans in their love for rugby. I'll be treating these guys with a lot of mana, as they are a very, very sacred item in Māori culture. Now, for the final thing in the care package is my World Cup fit. First off is this lightweight hoodie over here with an awesome design of a powerful wahine playing a bit of a game of rugby. Somewhere out of frame it's got the World Cup logo at the bottom, but it's okay. I'll probably end up taking a photo of this. And there's also a bit of text here on the side to complete an awesome design for this hoodie. And to go with it, I've got these wee World Cup socks as my final fit, as I do have tickets for myself and my wife for the World Cup final. I got probably a fair few more socks than I was expecting, but that is okay. I've got a big family I can share these all round to. Thank you very much for World Rugby for sponsoring this video and sending me the Champions package. Cheers, guys. Another key element in the Black Ferns attack is patience. They're not going crazy trying to score as quick as possible. They've got a lot more fortitude under Wayne Smith than what they had under Glenn Moore, the previous head coach, who resigned after allegations of him bullying the players. For example, the Black Ferns did not cross the try line until 32 minutes in their Pacific 4 opener against Australia, while it took 46 minutes against Canada. Both matches ended in a big winning margin, with Australia losing 10-23 and Canada losing 28-0. We also saw the Black Ferns wait until the 25th minute in their second Laurie O'Reilly Cup match in Adelaide. Still a coincidence after 3 times? I think not. We then see this for a 4th time the week earlier against Australia for the O'Reilly Cup match in Christchurch. As we can see in the 13th minute, the Black Ferns don't feel any pressure to score early. They simply just keep the scoreboard ticking over through excellent communication. This try begins as Georgia Ponsonby throws the line out to Alana Bremner as Coxedge goes out wide to the backs. Australia's 7 backs are all very spread out very nicely, while the Black Ferns have packed together what appears to be 4 backs into a pod. However, taking the place of 2 backs in this pod is Kennedy Simon, the co-captain, who takes the ball up the guts to carry from the second 5 channel. Charmaine McMenamin floats as the inside option for Simon so that a forward will already be there to clear out. As this happens, we see Teresa Fitzpatrick and Amy Duplessis in the pod. Duplessis is used to clear out at the ruck. Having used Simon and McMenamin as carrying options off the line out in the channels of backs, this has freed up Fitzpatrick to move back into the 12 channel at the following phase, as we can see in this wee wide shot. With the Wallaroo backs being forced to tackle Simon, the Black Ferns have the overlap, as we can see with Holmes out wide and Tui out of frame. Australia's defence line is pushed out wide to cover that space, and this opens up a huge hole in the defence line, allowing for Ruahei Demont to run onto the ball at pace rather than from a flat position. With the defence line far too wide, the line's been broken and Demont runs under the posts, and after 14 minutes, there are finally points on the board. Another wee thing is when the Black Ferns conceded their highest ever losing margin to England, 15-56 last year, the spine for the England's team was only made up of Harlequins and Saracens players last time I checked. But Wayne Smith is taking a very similar approach to Warren Gatland when it comes to rebuilding teams. As we can see from this video by Raging Bull Productions, this is what Warren Gatland did with Wales when he won the Grand Slam in 2008. And now we're seeing 2 different groups of players in the Black Ferns with a long history of experience together. This first group here is Pip Love. She debuted at prop in 2014. Charmaine McMenamin debuted at number 8 back in 2013. Hazel Tubic, though she's just finally coming into her own, she did debut at first 5 in 2011. Renee Whitcliffe debuted at both 7s and 15s from fullback in 2009, whereas Kendra Coxedge debuted at halfback all the way in 2007. Unbelievable. I was still like under 3 foot or something back then. But yes, this is a long period of experience together from these particular players, as I said earlier. Just to touch on the definition of the spine for those who haven't watched my previous videos, the spine are the key decision makers for the teams, and for most teams that's the hooker, number 8 halfback, first 5 and fullback. We're then getting a group of 7s players that Wayne Smith has selected for the Black Ferns. Ruby Tui debuted in 2012, Portia Woodman debuted in 2013, she's also played a bit of 15s before, as we all know. Sarah Hiddeny debuted in 2013 for the 7s team. Teresa Fitzpatrick debuted in 2016 at 7s, as did Stacey Flula. So these 7s group, they've all played together for a long time over a 5-year period, with some of them coming in around 2013 or so, and there's this same group of very experienced Black Ferns. We also notice that Wayne Smith has selected 12 players from the Chiefs Manawa who won Super Rugby Aupiki, the new women's Super Rugby competition. This includes a lot of spine members, Wycliffe and Tubic, as well as hooker Luca Connor, and both backup halfbacks Ariana Baylor and Arahiana Marino Tohinu. 10 more of the 32-player squad for the World Cup are players from Matatu, meaning just 2 teams make up over 2/3 of Wayne Smith's World Cup squad. Matatu are contributing Pip Love's experience, they're also contributing Coxedge, a member of the spine, they're also contributing the first choice fullback Renee Holmes, as well as both reserve hookers Natalie Delamere and Georgia Ponsonby, who has played quite close to the level of minutes that Luca Connor has. This cohesion is really beginning to gel, and I think a lot of people are underestimating it, to be fair. We're going to go to the 45th minute against Australia in Christchurch to show an example of this cohesion finally coming together to create a good team work ethic. As Cecilia Smith gets back on side after rolling away from the ruck, Kendra Coxedge senses the opportunity to keep Smith from returning to the open side of the pitch where she should be defending. Coxedge does so by sending the ball to Renee Holmes, her Matatu teammate, who engages two defenders by holding the ball with both hands. With Ruby Tui on the outside, Ivania Wong looks to mark Tui while also watching Holmes. This is because Wong has her teammate, Georgina Fredericks, tackling Holmes from side on. With Amy Duplessis as an inside option, Smith is forced to mark Duplessis and remain on the blind side of the pitch. After the tackle is completed, backs clean the ruck out, including Duplessis. With Australians drawn to the blind side, Smith's absence has created a two-player advantage for the Black Ferns as Coxedge passes to Joanna Nganwu. We see a few phases, and with Australia failing to realise that forwards have come in as distributors, Carlo Nivali passes wide to Demont, who is able to choose between three different strike runners. Thanks to Ponsonby's decoy line, Demont is able to combine with Fitzpatrick, her Blues teammate, who unleashes none other than Aisha Leti Iyenga, who beats three defenders to score after giving a nice dummy. You guys on the audience, ladies and gentlemen, you surely notice that I'm bringing up the same names over and over again when discussing this try. Wayne Smith is a very good coach with a long period of success and stuff. Like, he was the All Blacks coach in the early 2000s. He resigned though because he wasn't too happy, but then he became the assistant for Graham Henry and Steve Hansen, and he won 2 World Cups as their assistant because this freed him up to work on his analysis and everything. He's a strong, independent-minded coach who works you hard at training, as I've found out through getting players on for Q&As, and he's also more than happy to pick on form. He's not really too fussed on your reputation. Les Elder, who was captain last year, and Eloise Blackwell, one of the most capped Black Ferns of all time, have both never been picked by him for a squad, whereas we've also seen Chelsea Semple miss out on the World Cup squad, though I believe she was going to be fit to play after recovering from injury. It wasn't 100% sure on the squad naming about that. I do know for a fact Alicia Pearl Nelson wasn't picked due to injury as well, but none other than that can represent the changing of the old guard to the next generation, and with Wayne Smith's faith in the next generation and this brilliant attack that they've built their way back up around, I think the Black Ferns are going to win the 2022 Rugby World Cup, and it's not because my bias, it's just because I've got tickets to the final and I've got faith in the team that I'm making this prediction. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this video, and make sure to go and visit me on Instagram and visit me on Twitter if you want to see a bit more of my content. If you really want to support me, you can be like these awesome patrons that I mentioned at the start of the video and become a supporter over there. But if you just want to make a one-off donation, you can visit my PayPal tip jar. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. Go the mighty Black Ferns, and I'll see you for another video next time. Cheers.